Welcome to Grand Prairie Update. I'm Terry Briggs.
And I'm Don Johnson. Here's what's happening in your city.
The Easter weekend got off to a running start again with the city's annual Easter egg hunt at Lynn Creek Park. Hundreds of kids were looking to load up their baskets with Easter eggs that were filled with candy and prizes. It was part of the annual Easter Extravaganza hosted by the Parks and Recreation Department. In all, there were 3 different egg hunts for kids of different age groups, starting with boys and girls 5 and under. There were also photo opportunities with Peter Cottontail, games, food, face painting, and more prizes.
Happy Easter!
Johnny Crawford, the TV and movie star from the 60s, is back in the spotlight as a big band leader. Crawford brought his 18-piece orchestra to the Uptown Theater this weekend. For 2 hours, the 67-year-old performer led the audience on a nostalgic trip back to the 20s and 30s. Music is a big part of Crawford's career. In the 60s, he had several top 40 hits and a gold record for Cindy's Birthday. And in the early 90s, he formed a vintage dance orchestra that quickly grew popular in the Los Angeles area.
And that's what I've been doing since 1992, and making a living in show business, playing, putting these old arrangements in front of musicians who enjoy it as much as I do, and we try to play them in the style of the period without being campy, just adding expression to the arrangements, and that were written by great craftsmen back in the days when there was live music everywhere you went.
Grand Prairie enjoys a special connection with Crawford. His 1965 movie Indian Paint was filmed in this area. And last summer he took the Uptown stage in Foreigner, a comedy presented by the Texas Family Musicals. His weekend performance was a fundraiser for TMF, a nonprofit organization that produces Broadway-style musical theater.
Which wall, ma'am?
This wall.
Over here?
Yes, please.
For many people, moving day can be a stressful experience, but in this case, it was a joyful one.
Beautiful. I just love it.
Good. Because after a little more than 5 months, lifelong Grand Prairie resident Deborah Richards got to move back to the same address she's called home since 1988.
This door is moved over.
But the address is about the only thing that's the same from when she had to leave last fall.
Because I lived in an old and very unsafe home, but I had so many memories tied up in it, I never dreamed that I would be where I am right now.
You know, if you hung a couple of bird feeders on this overhanging bush,
of course.
sit out here and watch the birds eat.
Where she is now is in a brand new home on the same spot where she watched her old one demolished. It was the first major step in a process that's changed her life, and it started when she applied and qualified for assistance from Grand Prairie's Housing and Neighborhood Services Department.
We determined that the house was pretty much beyond rehab or repair, that this house was deteriorated enough it warranted a total reconstruction.
Reconstruction that was paid for through a federally funded program that allocates money to the housing department for cases just like this. A program that Richards said she didn't even know about until she met Walters and the GPHNS staff.
Oh my gosh, look at it. It's just gorgeous. These are good people and they care. This is what I'm seeing. They are as happy as I am.
We get a lot of satisfaction out of helping people because just in this case, there's a lot of times they don't even realize we have a reconstruction program, and they may have a house that's so bad it needs it badly. They're really excited. We love to help families. That's what this program's all about.
Walters says his department has assisted with dozens of these types of cases each year since the program began. And while the immediate rewards for recipients are pretty obvious, there are also long-range benefits for the community.
You're going to have families here for a long time in a house that's newly constructed to the newest codes, and it helps the neighborhood, it helps the city, tax-wise, everything. It's a win-win-win.
It's just absolutely above and beyond anything I could have dreamed up or thought that I would receive.
For information about any of the city's housing and neighborhood services programs, contact them at 972-237-8040 or log on to gptx.org/housing.
The ballot is now set for the Grand Prairie city election on May 11th. In the mayor's race, Ron Jensen and Mark Hepworth face off for the job Charles England has held for 22 years. Both Jensen and Hepworth resigned their council seats to run for mayor. In Council District 1, Barry Anderson, Max Coleman, Georgia Clemson, and Michael Dean Riley II are running for the seat vacated by Hepworth. In Council District 2, incumbent Jim Swafford is unopposed for another term. In Council District 4, incumbent Richard Friegel was also unopposed for another term. In Council District 6, Warren Landrum, Catherine Jane Monette, Joshua Michael Spare, and Jeff W. Woolridge are running for the seat vacated by Jensen. The ballot also includes a measure on the 1/4 cent sales tax dedicated to street and alley repairs. Voters will decide if they want to renew the tax or let it expire. The polls are open for early voting from April 29th through May 7th at various locations. On May 11th, the polls are open from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. For more election information, go to the city's website or contact the city secretary's office.
So we'll go ahead and file your return.
It's tax season again, and at the Grand Prairie Memorial Library, there's a free service to help the elderly and low income. Once again, AARP is providing professional preparers to help file returns for seniors and folks who can't afford a tax service.
The low-income people get the child tax credits, so that's a little confusing and a little bit tricky, but our software handles all that. And the elderly may come in because maybe the husband died and he took care of all the finances before, and then the poor widowed spouse comes in without a clue, and so we help those ladies.
The AARP tax service is being offered Monday and Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. through April 15th. If you plan to use the service, make sure you bring last year's tax return, your 1099 forms, and W-2 statements. For more information, go to the library's website or call 972-237-5700. That's it for this edition of Grand Prairie Update.
Hope you'll join us next time.